I wish I could look more like her. Why isn't my life as great as his? I want to have their kind of money and buy whatever I want. These are just a few of the things I've heard our students say when looking at social media. More and more, our students are seeing influencers on social media and desiring their life to be more like the life they see projected on the screen. And when it isn't, the comparison game comes into play and they doubt, unworthiness, and self-loathing soon follows. Social media has a lot of wonderful components to it, but it also has elements that lead our students down a road towards lack of self-worth. While social media can have more positive effects, researchers are aware that it's balanced by negative effects that can have a long-term impact on our students' mental health and overall well-being. If you notice signs of low self-esteem or social media addiction or overuse in your student, it may be time to gently correct them in the way in which they use or interpret social media. Remember, low self-esteem in your student can have a lifelong consequence, if not reverse. So if you recognize a problem, you may want to address it quickly as possible. Here are some tips to help your students' self-esteem and get back on track. Suggest limits for the amount of screen time for your student. It's amazing the amount of time we all spend on our phone. I'm sure you've gotten the weekly screen time use report and were surprised by how much time you actually spend on your phone. For our students, it can be a lot more. Talk to your students about how much time they're spending on social media and suggest setting a more responsible amount of time. Then help them stay accountable to their limits. Also give suggestions on other things they can do during these downtimes. Pick a hobby they haven't been doing anymore. Play a sport or exercise with friends, or spend time with loved ones. Also, set boundaries for when it's appropriate to check social media accounts. There are appropriate times to look at social media, and there are times that are not. Help your students set boundaries on when it is and isn't okay. For example, no technology at mealtime is a great start. Have a basket at your table and have everyone put their phones or tablets in the basket before they sit down to eat. Also, another great boundary is no social media before bedtime. Using a device before bedtime can be a slippery slope, and before they know it, they have been on it for hours. It's 2 a.m. and they're wound up from all they've seen. Also, have an honest conversation about how unrealistic social media posts can be. Talking to your student about what they're seeing and how it affects them is great because it lets them know that you care, but you can also have an open and honest conversation about the realities of social media distortion. This gives them the opportunity to share their concerns and about how it makes them feel. You can support them in what they're seeing and offer suggestions of how to better process their feelings. Also, limit distractions by changing notification settings. Suggest having your student turn off their notifications for specific apps and also set a time range when their phone goes on Do Not Disturb. With this function, you don't get any notifications at all and can wind down for the night and start their day off right in the morning. Also, set a good example about healthy social media use. This can be the hardest part because we too get sucked into social media and all the videos and posts. How often have you lost track of time watching videos that you just didn't see yourself getting sucked into? Set some boundaries for yourself and share what you're doing and how it's helped you in time management. You can also share out how it makes you feel to be more present with those around you and less present on social media. Also, encourage hobbies and activities that are online, especially any activity that makes your student feel accomplished. For a lot of our students, the amount of time they spend on social media could make it a legit hobby, but unfortunately, it becomes more of an addiction than a hobby. Talk to your student about something they like to do, whether it's taking pictures, crocheting, drawing, or collecting a specific thing, and encourage them in this hobby. It's amazing the self-esteem they will feel when they engage in this and feel accomplished in their hobby. Try implementing each of these tips gradually. Discuss each change with your student so they know why it's happening. Don't overwhelm your student with advice. Instead, guide them gently to a healthier mindset about social media and one that will encourage good self-esteem. Lastly, take time to pray for your student and the hold social media has over them. Your prayer can sound something like this. Lord, thank you for the good gift of the internet and social media through which we can create, communicate, learn, and glorify you. I thank you for the ways you have blessed our world and made lives easier because of the internet. I pray that you would help my student to try to avoid technology's intended consequences like idolizing gadgets, using gadgets to feel more idols in their lives, or to keep them from relating to others you have called them to love. Lord, guard their hearts to see themselves as you created them and not how the internet portrays them. I pray they would be able to live a fruitful and productive life for Christ, and that the internet would only aid them in your work and Christian calling. In your name, amen.